Welcome to the Recipe Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Red. Now, I think it goes without saying, and most of you would definitely agree, that at least some of the wind was taken out of the sails of that initial Nintendo Switch 2 reveal trailer. Why? Because of all of the leaks prior to the reveal. We knew the way it looked, we knew about the magnetic Joy-Cons, we knew about the mouse feature, everything basically leaked. Everything. And then the trailer came out. And while the trailer was like, yes, we finally get to see it, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest that it would have hit a lot harder if we didn't know about everything. So that brings me to, well, today. So when this was revealed and I spoke on it, I threw in little tidbits about the Pro Controller. That's the thing that I'm most excited to see now. I hope that the Pro Controller could somehow, some way have even the mouse-like features, so that you don't even gotta switch to Joy-Cons just to use that specific idea of the Nintendo Switch 2. And today, that was pretty much softly confirmed, I'll say. It feels like a hard, absolute, 1000% true, confirmed, this is what the Pro Controller is going to be, but I'm not going to go that far. Because I've been duped, I'll say, by patents in the past, and I don't want to get, played again. So I'm going to just say the same way that the Switch 2 reveal trailer was slightly, less impactful because of leaks. I'm so mad right now because this right here was something that I would have loved, if true, to have revealed on April 2nd. Like, here's the Pro Controller. And it splits in half. You know how long I've been talking about a split Pro Controller, standing controller? Well, since 2006. Because that'd be cool. You know what I mean? It'd be cool to have something more comfortable than the Wii Remote and nunchuck with the wire in between. Just a Pro Controller just split in half. That would be crazy. Motion controls. You'll still be able to use, a gyroscopic aiming with your right hand for first-person shooters and other things to manipulate, all over the screen. Let's say you're playing something like Mario Galaxy on that. You'll be able to collect the star bits with your right hand, just like you would with the Wii Remote. But it's a Pro Controller with comfortable grip. You know what I mean? Like, that was the dream. And it appears that dreams are coming true within the Nintendo Switch 2 generation. I ain't have to, go and be like, oh yeah, I gotta, play VR in order to experience something with split standard like controls. Nah, Nintendo's like, yeah, we got you, right? Finally, we got you. We hear you. We all up in your dreams. You know what I mean? And we gonna give you exactly what you want this generation. Yo, if this is true, this would have been such a big moment, on April 2nd to see that reveal for the first time, because this is genuinely something that I've wanted for like 20 years, and it's finally happening. I've went as far to even get third-party split Wii Remote Joy-Con contraptions and things like that made them wireless, and it was cool, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted, and this appears to be exactly what I wanted. The fact that it splits, and where it splits, let's say, look at it, because I'm not gonna put up pictures of the patent, in the video. I'm not doing that because you know how Nintendo be. But I'm gonna just say this is basically what it is. Take your Pro Controller, right, and think of it as your Joy-Cons, right. And if you split it, the Joy-Con, when you put it in its actual, grip, in the Joy-Con grip. Now, when you remove the Joy-Cons, obviously where they connect, there's a lot of tech there, right. There's shoulder buttons there on a standard Switch, I'm saying. So we know on the Switch 2, you got your mouse feature there on top of bigger and better, shoulder buttons. They basically added that stuff. Well, not the, shoulder buttons like L and R and stuff like that. ZR, whatever the hell are the ones in there. Like, they actually put the mouse there so that you can basically face it down the same way you would a Joy-Con. But it's almost like a bigger surface than the sleekness of the Joy-Con, because it's a Pro Controller and it's thicker, and you could just move around like that, which I feel would even be more comfortable for that specific features for people who really going to take advantage of that feature and be playing long sessions of Call of Duty, Splatoon, Metroid Prime. You know what I'm saying? Like, with that mouse-like feature, I still think the Pro Controller is going to be incredibly comfortable and probably the superior way to use that feature. I just feel. But again, different hands, different experiences. Some people might find the smaller Joy-Con more comfortable. But the fact that the Pro controller actually feels like it's going to be a Pro controller in this sense where you don't need to pick up a different controller to do this specific feature, it has it in there. That's awesome. Like, that's incredibly awesome. And I'm excited to just play video games in split mode. I hope it's not the case of where it's like if you're using that, and you're playing a standard game, it got to be connected. And it only works, as a split controller when you're using the mouse feature. That would ruin the whole thing. So I hope that's not the case. I really, really hope that's not the case. I want to be chilling, you know what I'm saying? Basically, arms spread out and just playing a standard game, with standard controllers, but I'm just comfortable splitting in half. It's like a controller split anyway. So why is it that we got to be tethered together all the time? Like, you can put all the content that's on the right side in your right hand, all the content that's on the left side in your left hand, and you're straight. You know what I'm saying? You could play anything like that. So I'm happy that that's going to happen. And again, when it comes to motion and stuff like that, even something like Wii Sports, imagine playing tennis and you still, instead of switching to your Joy-Cons, like whenever I'm playing tennis, obviously, I'm grabbing the Joy-Con and I'm using the motion. It's great. Imagine not even having the switch. You could just use your Pro controller and it having that grip is going to feel more like a tennis racket anyway. And different games and stuff like that. I could see you, doing boxing games like that and just splitting it. All kinds of things, pulling back a bow and arrow. Again, split controls is just going to feel, to me, way more comfortable than even the Joy-Con. So I really hope that this is real. And this comes from the same patent that showed basically the Joy-Cons that we see for Nintendo Switch 2. The Joy-Con 2s, you know what I mean? And those are being shown off in all its mouse feature glory in these patents. And so the patent basically shows, and it can work for a standard controller, and it shows a controller that splits. So I'm hoping, I'm praying that this is a reality. I'm kind of mad that it's something else that was revealed before it should have been, but this isn't really like a leak thing. This is more like Nintendo got to make these patents. If that's what's coming in April, they're about to start selling that, real soon. They got to have everything right, all their ducks in order. So certain things are going to, there's gonna be little drips in the faucet. Let's say that, but this isn't like some crazy leak. But for me, in the scale of hype and excitement for this controller, oh man, this is a giant leap. You know what I mean? And it's a giant other moment where it's like I would have loved to have that, reaction live. Like, here's the reveal on April 2nd. But there's gonna be a lot of things to reveal on April 2nd, and if they start that April 2nd show with here's the features of the Switch 2, everything it could do. Oh, and you can also play games, and they show off the controller. It also splits. It also does the mouse features. This is after they went over already the mouse features with the Joy-Con, the whole Switch. They ended with that, and then they start going into game, and you now knowing that you're gonna be able to play Prime, because you'll be able to technically play Prime in the same way that you played Prime on the Wii with a split controller. If they put the motion there, on your right hand and the left, you just moving the character around. Like, what? The fact that I'll be able to play it Wii style and then someone else could play it basically keyboard and mouse style, right? And someone else could play it dual analog. And then maybe they'll be like, we also have the 10 controls feature. So if you want to play it like the original first two games and have all those control styles on top of having more accessible control methods, maybe they'll be like, what, since we got the split controller, we actually made it where you could play the whole game with one controller in one hand. That adds a whole layer of accessibility, which I've been talking about for a long time with the Metroid series needing more accessibility features, because it's a very, very core controller mechanic heavy video game, and Dread proved that in the way it used every damn button on that controller. You was holding down multiple buttons in order to do things. It's a very core experience. So yeah, having that accessibility is always, always, always a plus. And anyone who says otherwise, you just hating, because it takes nothing away from you. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to look at it. I look at everything that Gears of War does with accessibilities, and it ranges from, the hearing impaired to the visually. Like, it's so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And God of War, Ragnarok did it too. I think they won the same award that Gears of War 5 won a few years earlier. So it's like, I want to see, imagine Metroid comes out and wins that award. That would be a huge win, because Dread came out and literally won that award on the opposite side for worst accessible games. So for them to come around and make the game more accessible, which is something that Nintendo's always been about, especially with the Wii remote. And that's why when I see like motion split controllers, Joy-Cons, it's like, yo, you got mad ways to play. Mouse to keep it, like, there's no excuse for Metroid not to be more accessible. As a fan of the series, I just want that because I want more people to play the series. I want everyone to be able to play the series. So, I feel like this controller can add even to that if it instantly just adds a one-handed mode to the game. Choose left or right Joy-Con, Joy-Con or, your Pro controller. That's great. Like, that's literally phenomenal, phenomenal. Like I see, Microsoft putting all that stuff everywhere, and I'm like, that's all well and good, but I feel like they should also have a conversation with like Nintendo, like, yo, like, could we like sell our adaptive controller and your games actually utilize that? Because if y'all not gonna do it, then just support ours. It's right there. PC supports it. Like PlayStation already got their own, so if they want to support ours, cool too. Like, yeah, make that third party. There's no reason why peripheral like that is for people to enjoy the medium doesn't get in some way, shape, or form maybe utilized by everyone who isn't doing it. It's so easy to say, yeah, you know what? We all got USB-C, USB ports in our docks, consoles, whatever. Yeah, plug that right in and it works. Why not? You look at PC, like, if I'm playing with a DualSense, which I never do because I don't have one, but if I was playing Spider-Man on PC, it would get all the, HD rumble stuff and all the features that the PlayStation 5 version with that controller has. And all the buttons will be X, triangle, square. When I'm playing it with an Xbox controller, it just changes. It's like I'm playing a version on Xbox. It's A, B, X, Y. Everything is just normal. And that's nothing new for PC. They've done it forever. But that's my point. It's like PC can be open with controls like that. There's no reason, I've always gone to these tangents about the adaptive controller. But look, at some point, we the OGs. We the first generation, basically, of this thing we call video games. You know what I mean? So at some point, we going to be actually the old G's, you know what I mean? And things will be making it a struggle to play. So when something like this is standard all throughout generations, from when we at this young age to then when we super old, 60s, 70s, 80s, beyond, who knows? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to still be able to game. I know I do. I want to take part in my favorite medium of them all, until the day that I'm dust. Like, I definitely do. And I think y'all do too. So I think it's real short-sighted when gamers don't actually make a big hoopla about, like, every console manufacturer actually having an adaptive controller to sell. Whether it's, being put in stores or it's just something you can order from them directly on their website. I think that's something that should happen because it's video games. It just should. I feel like if you're not going to do this, then don't even bother putting subtitles in games. Like, why even go half a step? You should go all the way and get everyone. Everybody, we want everyone to play. I'm like, it don't feel like it when you're not really trying to support everyone's, specific needs in order to participate in the medium. But anyway, enough of that tangent. Enough of that. It's just, I genuinely feel like that. So, yeah, I'm excited for everything that can come from a split Pro controller that has all the features of the Joy-Con tools. So, yeah, I'm excited for this to become a reality. I'm hoping now more than anything, like, yeah, I know we're going to see games. There's going to be a lot good stuff. Yeah, I really want this to be there as a reality. Obviously, I think it'll be there no matter what, a Pro controller, because Nintendo knows, like, and they've been selling Pro controllers since basically, listen, they've been selling different controls from their standard controller, and I'm not going to go to zappers and things like that because those weren't used in every game. But I will count, like, since basically Wavebird. So they've been doing this for over 20 years, selling a Pro controller. So I think it'll definitely be there on April 2nd. It's not going to be something that we got to wait a few weeks later, closer to launch. Oh, it's revealed in the Twitter post. Nah, it'll be there because it's going to be beautiful, something worth showing off in the same way the current Pro controller is beautiful and worth, showing off in all its glory. Yeah, man. So let's get into now the next headline, which is Nintendo Switch. I mean, if this console wasn't already, legendary enough for what it did for every single Nintendo IP that launched on it. Because, I mean, that's literally what happened. Every single Nintendo IP that launched on Nintendo Switch basically did better than they ever did for that specific IP. Whether you're talking Kirby in the Forgotten Land being, what was it, an 8 million selling, that's crazy, which I'm so happy about, and it's such a great game. Like, everything was doing bigger to Metroid Dread, 3 million for the series, over 3 million. Like, that's wonderful, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the ceiling for it. And 3 million is a good number. If they could consistently hit that with 2D Metroid games, oh, we good. Smooth sailing with 2D Metroid games. But, yeah, in its 8 years, the Switch, understand the Switch, has broke the record for the most million-selling first-party games on a single platform. They are 72 titles in already. And the reason why I say that is because there's very much the possibility that Donkey Kong, because you can't deny, they done put so much promo behind Donkey Kong Returns. It feels like it's more promo than Tropical Freeze got. And I know that's not the truth because they did a lot of promo for that too with Funky Kong and everything. Yeah. It's crazy though. 72 games. I think Donkey Kong will be 73. And I think Xenoblade will be 74, honestly, to be genuinely honest, And then one can only hope that 75 would be Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Yes, if it could just get 1 mil, in the same way it's basically what Twilight Princess did, Breath of the Wild did on their previous console. Like, get 1 mil on the previous one and then come out on the new one and rack up a couple mil. That'll be the best scenario for Prime 4. So yeah, 72 million selling first-party games in a single generation is insane. And the second place holder with that was Nintendo DS, which saw 55 first-party million sellers in its lifetime. Now, this is why I always say, like Nintendo, when they sold that 100 million Wiis and that 150 million, DSs, they sold 250 million pieces of hardware. That was a lot of games they sold that generation. A lot of hardware. That was literally their most crazy generation. And I know people like to say, "Oh yeah, no, the Switches." Nah, that I don't care. Like that was just too much hardware. So many games. So 55, on DS. Imagine what the Wii did. You know what I'm saying? The Wii had a lot, easily more than 20. So yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Like Nintendo's been winning for so long, and this is why I always say, like, I know people like to focus on Wii U, but they've been winning for so long, so long. And I hope that they keep on winning, through the development of fantastic games like they've been doing. Because when I look at this number, I go, you know what? That number is completely earned, top to bottom. Whether you're talking Wii U ports, those games, most of them, honestly, were 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Let's just keep it real. From New Super Mario Bros. U, to me personally, that especially oh my God, like a 3D world, like with Bowser's Fury, oh my God, like that is deserved. Even boosted Mario Kart Deluxe, like, come on. So yeah, even with those games, but then obviously new IPs like ARMS and things like that came out throughout the generation. It's just crazy, And I can only hope that the Switch 2 can, get, I don't want to say 50. Now I want more than that. Like even 85% of this success, it would be literally I feel like the best case scenario. Obviously, the best case scenario does even better than the Switch 1. But I'm just saying, you never know what'll happen. But yeah, if it could get even 85% of this kind of generation from, output of games to the way the games were selling and all the games were doing better, so that means Prime 4 comes out and does better than any of the previous ones. Yeah, that'll be the best case scenario for me. I would love to see that actually happen. Now, I gotta get into this real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not new news. It's like with Xbox. I hate talking about them putting games on multiple platforms when they've been doing it already forever. Like, 10 years, and people every time have, oh no, but this was this is a tried and true. Like, they all tried and true. They all are. They all are, bro. They ain't no more tried and true than Call of Duty. Once that was like, that's gonna be over there eating food every single year on all these platforms. Why not just have all our games eaten? Especially when we're doing games that are service games, online games. It's just dumb for those to be on one platform. It shows that they don't live long lives. You know what I'm saying? When they do that, like, it just slows down so much. It's rare that they could just survive, a single platform like these ongoing experiences. But yeah, Nintendo basically, confirms that they're still working on mobile things. And like I've been saying for the last few podcasts, like don't be surprised when Zelda gets announced closer to the movie, like because they been talked about a Zelda, you know, game for or Zelda thing, because it could be any kind. It could be an app. It could be a game. It could be anything. Like the fact is that Nintendo basically sees smartphones as important, and they're going to continue, with it. And I think that's cool, And I'm just gonna read this statement real quick from Furukawa. It says, as you pointed out, it is true that smartphones are replacing our dedicated game consoles as the first game consoles to play. In light of this environment, we have been considering various things about what can be done with smartphones, and we will continue to do so in the future. In last year's management policy briefing, in the explanation of expanding the population that comes into contact with Nintendo IP, we mentioned that we are using theme parks, official stores, videos, and mobile to get people interested in our core business of dedicated game consoles, which is all well and good. We always talked about that for years, right? Do other things outside of gaming to bring people to the game. Sony has talked about that recently with making movies and bringing, gamers into the IP through other mediums. I think that makes sense, right? So yeah, back to it. Where was I? Videos and mobile to get people interested in our core business of dedicated game consoles. Even as we move to Nintendo Switch 2 in the future, it will be important to expand our points of contact with consumers outside of game consoles. And we believe that smartphones will play a very large role in this, so we will continue to research and work on this. The total number of unique users of each app distributed by our company to date. Point is, while it sounds like, oh yeah, no, they're gonna do things, supplemental things. It's not that they're gonna be putting their mainline stuff. I'm just saying they made Mario Kart for mobile. They didn't technically, while I say obviously booster course, the baby, that was full blown new Mario Kart on top of the old bones, but they didn't make a full blown dedicated Mario Kart on the Switch. It's like that shows you already. There's potential for certain things. Like I can see Animal Crossing being on mobile the exact experience like that Fortnite thing, where it's like whether you're playing on the go on your mobile phone, playing on the go on your Switch, it's the same experience. Somebody probably is like, yeah, I don't got a Switch, I just play Animal Crossing and I play that on my phone. They're getting the same experience, and they can play and go and visit islands of people on the actual hybrid console that is the Nintendo Switch 2. I could 100% see that because, again, having that user base and all those active users there all, basically take part in the active user numbers across console, hybrid console, and, their mobile efforts. I think that just makes sense. Like if we know we got the technology for stuff like that, why not utilize it? And if you're making games on mobile, why even bother to make a whole separate Animal Crossing thing again? What was the thing that they made before, like Pocket Camp, right? Yeah. Matter of fact, it's right here. It says but it was reborn as a paid app called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete. All right, yeah, December 3rd, 2024. So they still doing that. Imagine the next Animal Crossing come out and it's like full blown Animal Crossing on your mobile phone too. That could work. And I'm saying, like, listen, if nobody chooses to download it, cool. But it's there for you to buy in the same way Resident Evil, is there for you to buy from Capcom, full-blown console experience. Yeah, they haven't caught on like that, but again, like he said in his own words, like, yeah, it's going to continue to become, a super important point of contact and all that for their customers, right, outside of their consoles. That's just reality. Everybody doing that. I saw, Steam has over 100 million active users and stuff like that every month. So this is why games are finding, so much success there, whether you're talking Helldivers 2, putting up crazy numbers on a PC on top of also doing really well on PlayStation 5, to Xbox having, 45 million players on Forza Horizon 5, and that's before the game actually hits PS5 now. So that 45 million player number could potentially go up, potentially it could go up 20 million if PlayStation fans take to it. But even 10 million would be good. 5 million would be great, because that puts them at 50. And that's awesome, because that puts you, you're not at Mario Kart numbers, but you up there, in that realm of Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, of people playing this game, it's that big of an IP. Listen, when the Turtles mentioned it in the movie, I got hyped, and that's when I knew. I said, hell yeah, baby. Forza Horizon is here. Mainline Forza, can't wait for 6. And, I can't wait for all the influx of new players coming into the game and all that, because every time I'm on it, it's always cool to have your world populated. It's never been an issue where it's like, oh, there's not people playing this, so it's not populated. But still, more people, good. It's the way I feel when I'm thinking Warzone, Call of Duty. When I'm thinking Fortnite, great. We all here. When I'm playing, it don't matter where I'm playing, whether I'm playing it on Nintendo Switch 2, PC, or Xbox. If I'm playing Fortnite, I could play with everybody. I could play with you no matter where you are. That's the best world of video games that we could possibly ask for, in my opinion. So yeah, I think certain games potentially. Look, I'll even mention something like a Splatoon could work like a Fortnite situation, especially if they were crazy enough to be like, yeah, we're gonna go free to play with this and da da da. I ain't saying do all that. I ain't go that far, but I could see Splatoon being also something mobile that can work. It'd even be cool if there was we're gonna add a level editor to Splatoon, and you can edit levels with your mobile phone or on your Switch. So something even like that, like a supplemental, well, an app for Splatoon could work. The fact is, they're gonna do apps and things like that. I just hope they don't do apps for voice chat and messaging and pull out your phone to do things that you should just be able to do on your Switch. That's all I'm saying. So on to the next headline, which is definitely gonna have a poll born out of it. Let's just say that, because EA and Take-Two have gone on record about their support for Nintendo Switch 2. Now, they haven't gone on record on anything specific, but there's been some statements made. Let's go over those real quick, and then let's get to exactly what the poll is going to be. It's going to be real obvious. It's going to be a simple question, but let's start actually with EA. So this is what was said, and this was from CEO Andrew Wilson. Anytime a new console comes into the marketplace, that's a benefit to us. It gives us the ability to access and acquire new players. Typically, we've had franchises perform very well on Nintendo platforms. Certainly, our expectations is that products like FC and Madden and others might find real energy on the platform as they have done in the past. So again, there is nothing in our models at this juncture. Maybe April 2nd. But our expectation is that anytime a great new console comes into the marketplace, that gives us access to new players and new communities that we have the IP that will benefit from that. Now, keep in mind that he also made mention of My Sims Cozy, which basically has performed well ahead of its expectations. So expect new My Sims or even standard Sims on Switch 2. And I would 100% see standard Switch on top of My Sims because of that, mouse-like feature on the Joy-Con alone. I could just see them being like, you know what, yeah, let's put, and the power obviously, so yeah, let's put the latest edition of Sims on Nintendo's platform, fully featured and all that, because again, we don't need to take anything away, design anything for standard controls, anything like. They got mouse support right there. We could just dump it for the most part. Obviously, it ain't going to be that easy, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, EA, their support. I'll add this. When they mention Madden and FC, obviously those are their big tempo, but the other one that'll be there that's already on Switch, and it'll be a way, way better because the one that's on Switch is currently in the Fortnite state also, where it's like, yeah, that's on there, but that's not the game people playing on Xbox Series, PC, and PS5. But, yeah, Apex Legends, that'll probably be there, day one for you to download on your Switch 2 so that they can start, getting users early. Listen, if you got one of these ongoing games and you're not there day one, you did something wrong. Like Fortnite needs to be there day one. People need to be able to pick up their Switch day one, install Fortnite right next to their Mario Kart and enjoy a actual great version of Fortnite on Nintendo. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think something like Apex, that has to be there. All the games that came out that are service games that people have been building up, just content, buying content on Switch 1, needs to be there. I hope it's not a situation where, oh, yeah, it's backwards compatible. We already made a version for Nintendo. And it's like, what are you talking about? Those pieces of trash? Like, you're not even going to update them, like, to make them take advantage of our beautiful new hardware? That's crazy. Like, Fortnite should not have popping on Switch 2 and none of that nonsense. You know what I mean? Like trees that are just polygonal shapes. And nah, man, the texture should be way higher in Apex Legends and everything. So I hope that's not something where it's just like, oh yeah, we already have versions of those games, and that's servicing the Nintendo fans. Because I'm not playing those versions. But if they actually did new versions on Switch 2, yeah, I'll play on Switch 2 a bunch of the time that I'm playing. I won't even bother to switch hardware because I do that all the time. Like, I don't turn off my PC if I want to play Fortnite and boot up my Xbox. I'll just play Fortnite right there. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, wherever I'm at, it's like, yeah, I'm fine gaming there if the quality of the content is up to par. So, yeah, I expect things like, again, Apex to be there, Paladins, stuff like that. So, what was the other one? Warframe. Games like that I could see being on the eShop immediately, and they should be. Like I said, they definitely should be. There's something wrong if they're not there day one. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it'll just be weird. But that's EA. Now we gonna move on to Take Two, because Take Two got some strong IPs. Obviously, real strong IPs. Obviously. So this is basically what was said at the financial results call, and this was said by Strauss Zelnick. Obviously, the head guy in charge over there. So what he says basically goes. He can point and say, y'all gonna do this, and well, anyone who's under him gotta do that, whatever he said. So where is that? All right, so these are the things that he said. He said, we've had obviously a long-standing relationship with Nintendo, right? We've supported the platform when it made sense for the individual release. There was a time when Nintendo platforms are really geared towards a younger audience, and that was reflected in our release schedule. And now today, the Switch and potential with Switch 2, the Switch device can support any audience. As you may have noted, Civilization 7 is now on Switch. Imagine it on Switch 2 with that mouse control. But anyway, yeah, it's now on Switch. So while we have nothing specific to report, we actually would fully expect to support Switch. End quote. So, with that being said, this is what the poll is going to be. Will Grand Theft Auto 6 launch on Nintendo Switch? Yes or no? I ain't putting no maybes or nothing like that. And understand, when I ask this, I'm going to make sure to make it clear. Doesn't matter whether it's native, cloud. The point is, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be playable in some shape or form on Nintendo Switch. Do you think yes or no? I'm not going to tell y'all yet what my choice is. I'm going to think about it some more. I'm going to make these polls. Y'all going to vote. Eventually, I'm going to vote. And then on the next podcast, we'll talk about it. There'll be another poll also going up soon enough. We'll also be talking about that one on the next podcast. So, yeah, make sure you get your votes in. And, yeah, actually vote because, even if you don't have a dog in this fight, just, it's fun to predict. It costs you nothing. You lose nothing if they don't bring it to Switch. Well, I guess you do lose something if you were well, you shouldn't have expected it. You get what I'm saying, man. It doesn't matter, man. You could just vote. Just yes or no. What you think. Just predict, man. Just predict. Right now, a part of me where I'm sitting right now, I feel like fully support. Yeah, we'll see. But then I think of, again, Nintendo did make new ways to bring games to their platform during this generation with cloud versions of games. They may not have a Game Pass Ultimate in their cloud feature or a Stadia specific name thing, but there are some games that you can just download that do not actually run on the hardware. They're cloud versions, so that can be another, avenue for Nintendo in the Switch 2 generation still. And that can be a way that Grand Theft Auto can come, even if it can't really run on the actual nitty-gritty tech and be a native version on Switch 2. So, yeah, it really made it where I was like, you know what? I don't know. This time it feels like if the console comes out and the trajectory once it comes out feels like boom again, and not like all right, we'll see what it does. Slow little roll. No, but if it comes out and it's like boom, sold out everywhere, games are selling like crazy. Certain games that shouldn't be breaking records are breaking records because, well, they should be breaking records. Yes, I'm looking at you, Prime 4 Beyond. But, yeah, breaking records left and right. Then I think that's when they'll easily be like, oh, yeah, let's make the decision whether it's a native cloud thing, and they'll, decide whether GTA 6 will be, basically a viable thing for them to do with Nintendo hardware. That's the best way that I can basically put this. So yeah, look out for the polls, vote. I think it is exciting though, just to speak on the actual headlines, that EA is basically talking like this. You got Take Two basically saying, "Oh yeah, we used to look at them like the kitty gods," and you remember that. I remember that. I was there. You were likely there when it was on Nintendo's kitty. They don't need that. Nintendo is kitty. Their fan base don't want that, and it was like bullshit. We want that. We need that. What up? Bring that. And now we're in this space where it's like we don't even got to do all that. We just got to sit back, relax, and wait. Just wait and just watch. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. The game's now just drop, and it's like violent, mature, whatever you want to, oh yeah, this game ain't never gonna come out on the Switch, and it's there. So things even like, Cyberpunk 2077, I wouldn't be surprised make it over to Switch 2 because, well, they've already brought their games to Nintendo Switch 1, but something like Cyberpunk was never probably going to even have a Witcher quality, viable version on Switch 1, so they probably were waiting for Switch 2. They got the Phantom, Liberty, and all that content out, so that'll be a great time to put like a complete edition out across all platforms and then include Nintendo right there. There's a lot of games like that you're going to see come to Nintendo Switch 2, which brings me to, well, this is not really a headline, just a statement I want to make before we get to, well, the next segment, right? I really hope that on April 2nd, we see more new games than old games. Like, I get oh yeah, look, this is running on Switch. Oh, I'm happy to see that on Switch. And y'all know I'm the one who said I want to see Fortnite because I know Fortnite is a very demanding video game that seeing it will basically paint the picture of what that generation gonna be like. That's what I feel like, right? So it's like, yeah, I want to see stuff like that pop up, but I don't like if it's in a montage, a bunch of games, and there's that's coming to Switch. Oh, that's coming to Switch. A game like Phantom Liberty, like yeah, Cyberpunk, I can see why Nintendo be, oh no, we gotta stop on that. Like that's a big partner. We gotta focus. I get it, but I would rather, much, much rather, it be like, yeah, we're just gonna show a bunch of new games and then, open the floodgates for trailers to just be poured out from all studios, all developers all around, and just game announcements just be happening left and right to whatever the release date is that they give. So then it's like the whole April 2nd happened. Nintendo showed a very specific curated list of video games, right? Big games, brand new games that are going to excite people to get Switch 2. These are the things that you can't play anywhere else. You can only play them on Nintendo Switch 2. You couldn't play them on Switch 1. These are Nintendo made games, so you can't play them on any other hardware, So, yeah, this is what we showing you because this is what really is going to sell: new hardware, new games. Once that show opens, though, if, companies could be like, oh, congratulations, Nintendo, on the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2. And we, are excited to announce that we'll be bringing Cyberpunk 2077 to Nintendo Switch 2. And they give a little date, maybe it's a little bit after launch, and then a trailer is right there attached, it's on YouTube, it's on whatever social media. Like, that'll be a cool way and then just have people, don't all go on April 2nd and just bombard it. I mean, you could, that'll be great. But to see people just roll out, like I say, my prediction of, it comes out in June. They just rolling out stuff all through April, all through May, and then a little bit in June up to boom launch. And again, the things that they announcing aren't just for June. It's hey, this coming out August, this coming out this fall. This big new game that's coming out in the fall, Nintendo Switch 2, version there, like the logo is there at the end of the trailer. That's exciting because we're gonna get all these summer shows right around that time. So then there's like more Nintendo Switch, logos at the end of trailer splash screens. Is gonna be super exciting. We just got the console if it came out in June. Now we're seeing all these brand new games, including Microsoft ones coming over. So things like Hellblade 2, Indiana Jones, potentially all these games like Forza Horizon 5 on Nintendo Switch 2 could be something like that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, so you'll have all these different games rolling out, and then Call of Duty, gotta come. So that's coming in the fall, brand new Call of Duty game, and that's on top of all their stuff. Yeah, it keeps the news just consistently flowing. It's people just like, oh, Switch 2, Switch 2. Oh, that got announced for Switch 2. So we'll just consistently be just announcing like, bro, it's just everything is coming to this thing. And that'll be the best case scenario. And I hope that does happen because it shouldn't be something that I hope for. Nintendo Switch is the best selling video game hardware in the history of the medium. Like, that is a fact. You understand what I'm saying? And people be like, that's not a fact. I saw the number. Jim Moran walked out and he made up a number. Like, I'm speaking facts. It was DS before that. And is now Switch. You know what I'm saying? And Switch is going to go on to sell like probably, 170 million units because they're not going to take it off the market. They'll still have games coming out for it. A Switch 1 coming out, and then, a Switch 2 coming out, selling out, and then only seeing Switch 1s available on shelves is going to cause some people to just be, oh, I'm just going to take a Switch 1. I'm just, and that'll happen. So Switch One sales will go up. There's going to be other markets. There's still development gaming markets where Switch can potentially go and sell more. It's exactly what PlayStation 2 did, to get to their 150 million sold. That all of a sudden became 155 once the DS got there. And then once the Switch was passing the DS, we get 160. I lived through both those, so I don't believe them. I'm sorry if y'all don't like that, but I go by what I see with my own two eyes, and then somebody just switching up the number. So if the number all of a sudden they hit 160 and they be like, no, it was 165. Come on, man. We really doing this? I ain't doing that. Like, we know what it is. 1, 2, Nintendo got both those spots, whether you like it or not. And if you're talking generation success, no generation for no console manufacturer has ever competed with Wii and DS. Again, that's just the truth. Tell me what hardware manufacturer sold 250, pieces of hardware in a 5-year span. Nobody. Doesn't exist. But anyway, I think people need to put more, crowning achievements on that moment in time, in that moment in history. People just look back at it as Waggle and Kitty, and I look at it as what it was. It was a stomping of the masses when everybody said, PSP was going to crush the DS. Nope. Oh my God, it's only 480p. No way it's going to be able to beat PlayStation 4, 3, and Xbox 360. Stomped. It was Don't Be a Menace, flat on the ground. And it was just Nintendo, Koizumi, Miyamoto, Iwata, just literally stomping on the corpse. Now, anyway, let's move on now to the next thing that I want to speak on, and that's basically this right here, Metroid Prime. We've been having this little discussion on Discord, which you could join by becoming a patron. We've been having this discussion on Discord, right? Because Ipsta basically brought up the point of Metroid sales after seeing, Nintendo put out all their sales. We saw Dread did 3 million, and then Prime remastered it like 1.4, right? And that's right in the realm of Prime 2 and Prime 3. And Ipsa was saying, like, he felt like, like, that's it for Metroid. Like, if Nintendo fans ain't showing up for it, then Nintendo just got to, basically just off the series. And I was like, by those metrics, you got to off Xenoblade. Because Xenoblade has crazy cinematics, has crazy amounts of voice work, giant video games, you know what I'm saying? So you could say, oh yeah, they're, super efficient as a developer, Monolith. Cool. I'm sure Retro is very efficient in many ways. I think that of all Nintendo developers, next level games, everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's over there? Everyone, I think, has efficiency on the mind, especially because of the hardware that they know they're working on. But understand this, like, Xenoblade is still, in every way I look at, like Metroid. It's a hardcore Nintendo IP that leans more mature. It's like a realistic art style, but they still very cartoony anime-like. And this is the same thing with Metroid. It has its cartooniness to it. No Metroid or Xenoblade game looks 100% real. Not even X, which X looked a lot more realistic, you can say, than Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, but still, it was still animated, right? So it's one of those games, and it found that same Nintendo audience to me. It's that consistent, 1 to potential 2 million users who are going to play that IP. Now, 1 to 2 million could be great. We don't know exactly the amount of sales that Nintendo needs to hit in order for these games to be deemed successes for them. But I will say this, and this is what I said about in the actual Discord about Prime 4. Prime 4 started development damn near 10 years ago, right? It's been almost 20 years since we got a Prime game for a reason. Now, you can say, oh, Prime, like Federation Force. And it's like, nah, we talking real Prime games on, hardware with the budget that a Prime game basically warrants, right? We haven't got one of those since 2007 for a reason. Because that game, Prime 3, was literally tied to all the hype. It was right next to Mario Galaxy, right next to Wii Sports, and right next to Twilight Princess. Every single time those games were shown off, Prime 3 was shown off too. Every ad, remember the guy jumping from the back of the damn Lazy Boy rolling like a morph ball? Weird ads, fun ads. I think and look back on them fondly. Metroid was there, on top of, Mario Tennis and look at the Wii remote jump up and down. This is before they were showing games in those ads, and you was just hearing the sound, so you could get the idea of what this controller was going to be, So, yeah, people aiming at the screen and stuff, and people say, oh, that could be Metroid or something like that. which was cool, and then it would turn out to be all the things that we thought it was. See, they did the same thing basically that they did this time. Little tease. It was just different, you know. So anyway, my point is, it was tied to the rollout of the Wii heavily. Retro Studios literally came up with the nunchuck, which made that whole generation better. Just another example of the Metroid series making all the video games better, but somehow, some way, gamers never come and give Samus her flowers. I don't understand it, because she's gorgeous, she's beautiful. And hell, beyond that, she's always been there for you to lift all tides around her and make the entire medium better. For that alone, screw the looks, screw all of that, screw the Zero, Sufa, Z. For that alone, she deserves all the flowers, all the roses, all the doves let loose in her name. That's Samus motherfucking Aran. And yet it don't feel like people be putting that respect on her. It sucks, but that's what happened. We would come out, do 100 million, and that game sold less than Prime 1. I think it sold a little bit more than Prime 2. But the fact of the matter is, there was a reason. Clearly, you can have your own thoughts and opinions. Bro, we went literally almost 20 years without a new entry. It's because they clearly expected that to do more. So they said, you know what, we're going to try other things. And you saw them try other things. You saw it from, Prime Hunters to Federation Force. They tried other things. Other M. And they weren't wrong for that. Because if Other M would have just been a way better game and a lot more Metroid. Hell, if Other M would have just been third-person Metroid Prime, yeah, I think the series would have took off way more. Right? Because, it's third person, I can see Samus. And she just works in a way where, especially if you have, like these epic, like glory-style kills and everything like they did in, Other M. But then have the exploration and everything not be so rigid, but more open and more just, more Prime-like, more Super-like, more Dread-like, more Metroid-like. Yeah, I think it would have been a way better scenario. Also, not having to force people to play with a Wii remote, not magically being able to heal yourself. The list goes on and on. I don't even want to talk about the narrative. Oh my God, the narrative. But anyway, my point is, there was a reason why they stopped making Prime games. And we kept begging and begging and begging. And after almost 20 years, not really 20, let's say like 11, I don't know, like after a lot of years, almost a decade, let's just say that, they were like, okay, we're going to do it. They picked the wrong developer to do it. Then they restarted development. I don't know how much that cost. And now it's been in development for what feels like a whole generation, which is basically 8 years. So it feels like damn near 10 years and almost a decade, right? So imagine the budget that went into Prime, which looks like what it looks like, right? Will it have voice? I'm going to say it'll probably have voice acting because the last one did. It's going to have great cinematics. We've seen them with our own two eyes. They even look mocap. That's how good they look. So the budget is there. We've seen great developers from multiple studios all around the world, studios that you and I love, come into Retro Studios to work on that game. So yeah, a lot has been spent on this game, right? And this is where I agreed with Ipster. Because I didn't agree completely, because I was like, yeah, if that's the case, then Xenoblade got to go. And I don't think Xenoblade should go. I think there is a place for these games that just add to the catalog, which is something like Rich Meister mentioned, Metroid, you also mentioned that. Like, listen, I understand where we're all coming from, and I'm listening to all the different takes, and mine basically was, with Prime 4, and I think I've said this in previous videos, I'm a Metroid fan. Y'all know this. I love the series. I love it beyond anything. Like, it's just, I just love the Metroid Prime games specifically. They are like literally treasured to me, And I am okay if this is the last Metroid Prime game I ever play. If the game comes out, I feel, and sells under 2 million, anything, there is no 2 there. It is 1.87, 1.92. I don't care what it is. When you see the financials, if it doesn't sell anything over 2 million, I think it makes 100% sense. And while I don't want it to be the case, I understand and 100% respect Nintendo for being like, well, we're going to send you to the Lost Woods with all the other stuff that's right now currently trying to figure things out. Star Fox is going through damn different goddamn tunnels, and it's like, I don't know which way to go. Listen for the music, Fox. Listen for the music. And then you got, Wave Rays there. Oh my God, which way? Which way? Excite truck rolling through all the damn, log tunnels in the woods, trying to figure out which way is the exit. And then they all just met up in one certain area, right? There was a Skull Kid there, and he was like, "Hey, I got a new guest, and it's gonna be Metroid Prime 4." Now, understand what I'm telling you. Not Metroid Prime 4, just Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about 2D Metroid, mainline Metroid at all. I'm saying I am okay with them stopping Metroid Prime and saying, okay, that clearly is not ever going to work. Nintendo fans aren't going to show up for that game. Beyond that number, we're not going to spend all this money to make that kind of game. So instead, what we're going to do, because let's say, Dread sequel comes out and, we're at Metroid 7, 8, and Nintendo finally decides, you know what, we're going to develop a different kind of Metroid game. It's not just going to be the 2D one number entry. We're going to do something else. And they go and do a third-person game. Now, there'll be a lot of comparisons to, oh, they're making another Other M. But it's not Other M. You can see it's Metroid Prime through and through, badass Samus Aran, epic cinematics, a lot of morph ball action and, puzzles and all of that stuff. Like, you see it within the trailers and everything. Like, it's a brand new game, but it's third person. So traversal's better. It being that Metroid, it's just a giant open world space, right? And I know y'all gonna be like, open world, no. Listen, I'm talking Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. I'm talking Metroid. You know what I'm saying? Open world, where it's a giant world. You could choose to, maybe it's more open where you could choose what missions to do first, and maybe there's just this giant situation. Listen, in every Metroid game, the planets or the ship is gonna end up exploding. So let's say there's something on this planet, a distress signal that, oh, it's about to just combust, blah, right? So then Samus is going in to try to save whatever she can. And there's different locations you got to go in order to slow it down, but then you find out it's not going to combust. It's just a bunch of space pirates in the core of it doing some scientific experiments. Big, giant abomination is revealed, and you got to defeat it and all of that. Metroid, you know what I mean? And then still the whole place ends up getting destroyed. Or maybe this one, no, it doesn't. There's a countdown throughout the whole ending, and you actually save the day, stop the countdown, and the thing doesn't explode. And you'll be like, oh, snap, it was different. Instead of us having to run out of here, we just chilling now. We could just, continue exploring the world and doing other missions that we didn't complete. Maybe they'll move in that direction and make Metroid something like that. So I'm talking more like, even though it's so simple, and you should understand when I say, well, a Metroid game, but, I'm talking Arkham Asylum, City, Night, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, you know what I'm saying, Survivor, that kind of game. Third person, Samus Aran, running around, doing what she do. Like, I can see them saying, all right, we're doing this new thing, and it could be a different subtitle, or maybe it won't be a subtitle. Maybe they're so confident in it, they go, that's the next entry. That's Metroid. I said, what we was at, 7, 8? So this is Metroid 9, you know what I mean? Like, I can see something like that happen in the future. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh, all hope is lost. No, I'm just saying, clearly this didn't work, the Prime thing. So why are we going to keep doing that? Like, let's just pivot and now try something different. And I feel like, that pivot has been tried in the past, and that's cool. But what you created wasn't the right thing. That was Other M. So I think if you create the right thing, third person, you can still potentially grow the audience and find your Breath of the Wild moment, which is what we were talking about. Also like, Prime 4 needs to be its Breath of the Wild moment. I don't think it needs to be Breath of the Wild. I don't think it needs to sell 20 million. If a Prime game comes out and sells 5 million and you're not celebrating like it's a 20 million seller, then you're probably not really a Metroid fan. Because I think all of us Metroid fans, we gonna be feeling like, it's the best selling game in the world. What? This is Minecraft, boy. This is Fortnite. Like, we gonna be feeling like, we made it. Like, no, because it's gonna be such a achievement for that series. Because we've been wanting this for so long, and again, Samus deserves it. So I truly do believe, like, it doesn't need to be 20 million or whatever. Just something better than goddamn 2 million would be nice. For a Prime game, it outselling Prime 1 on GameCube would be nice. Would be genuinely nice. But would be even better if it outsold the whole Prime trilogy. That would be even better. Especially if it did it like in a month. Because it's out on new hardware. It's a beautiful game. It's actually going to be a stunning game if it lives up to, the Prime name. So, I wanted to find all the success in the world. But again, if it doesn't, it doesn't even, break 2 million sold, I am okay with them being like, all right, that's done. You got your Prime 4. Enjoy. You want to play Prime style games? You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Remaster the other ones, Nintendo, please. But anyway, you got those games to go back to and play. And now we're gonna be doing other things with Metroid. We're gonna have Mercury Steam doing their thing, numbered entries, and then we might do something else, something different. And it could still be produced by Tanabe. Hell, it could probably even still be made by Retro because they know what they're doing. It could just be something where they just change the series. Hell, look, I'm saying all of this, and it just made me think: what if Retro was like, you know what? Why can't we be Avowed? Why can't we be Starfield and just have a button, blick, and now the game is third person? I'm talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and that gets revealed April 2nd. Like, yeah, you can play it in first person or in third person. That alone might give the game 1 million sales. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So, again, a lot can happen. I actually wish that would happen because it would just be crazy now that I said it. But anyway, like that's something that I think would help the series potentially. Find a giant audience. Just the excitement. A lot of people be like, oh, I don't got to play it in first person, and I truly know that there are genuinely a lot of people who get motion sickness when playing first-person shooters. I'm not talking about the ones who, would get motion sickness until the day that it was confirmed Indiana Jones was coming to PlayStation 5, then motion sickness went out the window. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the actual people who get motion sickness. I genuinely knew people who got motion sickness playing Metroid Prime 3, especially with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. So, I can see how just a change in perspective can be helpful. I think there's a reason why, Bethesda does that a lot, where they make their games go from 2D to first person and give players that option. And I think always having an option is good. Even Call of Duty does third person modes and stuff like that. So maybe Retro was like, you know what? Why can't we just kill two birds with one stone right here, right now? And maybe they added that. You never know. It could be a giant W for them. So again, I'm not sitting here wishing for the death of it, and in no way am I saying Metroid to go away completely. I'll never stand by that. I'll never make that statement. I want it to be around forever. How I would like if we see a brand new Excite game, you know what I'm saying, on April 2nd. Something really good, online playing everything, but that probably won't happen because, well, we got Mario Kart. But even in the generation, I would like to see that. Or even if it is at the April 2nd show, but it's just not coming out, at launch, because that's Mario Kart's day. I'll be happy with that too. Like, super happy with that. So, to repeat, I don't ever want to see no Nintendo IP, go to the Lost Woods. Like, that's not what I want. I'm glad that F-Zero managed to find its way out, and we got F-Zero 99. Cool. Like, I want Star Fox to find its way out. Maybe Slippy, figure something out, because they all trying, yo. We got dudes in submarines, landmasters, on foot. They trying. They definitely trying. And y'all like, yo, you tripping. But nah, for real, like, I don't want no game to, like, especially good games that clearly every time they come out benefit the industry. You could talk about Prime games and the effect that they had on the Halo series. Whether you like the Halo series or not, like, having the visor-like perspective in a lot of first-person shooters, a lot of that came from Prime, and yeah, I like that. I like that Metroid continues to be the series that evolves the industry in its own way. But I really want Samus to get her flowers. I want Metroid to get its flowers. It deserves them. And after the long wait, after all the people talking about Prime, it's crazy, because it's scary when you see the install base 150 mil. And then on top of that, they sell it for what was it, $30 the game? And then to see it not even break 2 million, while $60 ports of games break 50 million or 20 million or 15 million, all the millions ranging from all the way up to 60 something million, again, because that's Mario Kart, you know what I mean? Like, and Metroid Remastered, which everybody, the best looking game on the Switch and all, can't even see 2 million sales at that price point. It kind of, if I'm Nintendo, I'm worried now about Prime 4. I'm worried about even the effects of Dread. Like, did Dread not make new fans enough to get them interested in playing another, Samus game? Because we know for a fact there's a bunch of people who play Metroid Dread who never played none of the Prime games. Because none of the Prime games ever saw 3 million sales. So I would honestly be asking, like, did it not resonate with people? Did they not like the character? Da, 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 da. All of this when I got this game in the chamber that they've been asking for forever, and now we put out, this very, very, very good version of their favorite entry in the whole trilogy. It looks better than hell. So many games. I'm not even talking about just on Switch. Just it just looks better than so many games, and it is a better game than so many games, and yet the sales don't really mirror that. It kind of makes you wonder what's going to be the outcome with Prime 4. But I'm trying not to let none of that. I mean, because there's nothing I could do about it. Like, I'm just trying to, have all of the positive thoughts in the world and hope that it's going to be the biggest, Metroid release of all time. And it being tied to new hardware, it releasing on super successful, current hardware. Yeah, I want the best for it. And y'all know this. But like I said, I'm okay with this ends up being the end. Cool, it's the end. As long as they continue trying other things, new things, in order to, still grow the franchise. It's just like, yo, just Prime didn't work. Right? Prime didn't work. Fine. Clearly, Dread worked. So you can try something else and not think, oh no, if we do third person, it's just other M and it's gonna have comparisons to other M. Sure, there'll be comparisons from people who, just gonna make those comparisons. Oh, they're gonna do third person. Hope it ain't another M. That's normal. But your job is to basically confirm to them the more they see trailers of the game, the closer they get to launch that, oh no, this ain't other M. This is literally one of the best looking games and I gotta play this immediately. So in keeping with the topic of dead IPs potentially, Jack Jam Jim actually asked the question. He said, what are the real dead IPs that Nintendo have in your opinion? IPs that you see no chance of ever getting the game either remade or a new game released. That's crazy to say, like, no remakes, no release. I mean, what do you count as a release? Because you got Nintendo Switch Online. So if a game releases there, like Wave Racers, is still alive. You know what I mean? Like, there's metrics to it. Because if it's still being utilized in a way to, add padding of content to make a service better and more enticing, then it's still doing something for Nintendo, and it's still a soldier. It still should be there, in the background, going up against Master Hand with all the other Nintendo IPs, if you get what I'm trying to say, right? So, really, like I was saying, I don't think there's no dead IPs. There's just lost IPs. Lost Woods. I mean, look, I literally mean lost IPs. They're lost to creativity, you know? They're lost to, I mean, direction to put creativity towards it. You know what I mean? It's just not a thing right now. So once, somebody goes through the scrapbook and it's found and be like, ooh, you know what could work with this? Mouse-like feature on Switch 2, let's say, for example. This game or that game. And then all of a sudden the IP gets a big AAA, Nintendo release version of it that sits right along the next Pikmin 5 and the next Zelda games. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so I really, really, really don't know. They could come up with a gimmick with a controller one day where they'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm not even going to make up future gimmicks. I'm going to use the one that's coming. You know what I'm saying? We got something right now, green lighted, that we know is real, and we got nothing. So I'm going to use that. They can look at that and say, you know what will work with this? Star Fox, because you can point all over the screen. It's the arcade-like shooter. So yeah, let's bring Star Fox back. If they say, oh, let's do something fun with F-Zero, where you actually play it like a car, like a toy car. And now it's a kind of, something like what they did with F-Zero in Nintendo Land. Yeah, it may not, it's not hardcore F-Zero X, GX successor, but it's something new with the IP, so the IP is living. It's hard for me to be like, oh, this IP is dead. Like, oh, yo, Earthbound is dead. I'll say it's dead, and then April 2nd, that'd be the biggest game that they show that day with the craziest budget, best looking game and all that. Like, literally blows everything out the water. Blows out Prime, blows out 3D Mario, blows out everything. It's like, yo, they just put all this budget into Earthbound? What the hell? That's crazy. But it can't blow out 3D Mario when they got Donkey Kong in it, right? Always got to go back to that. Yeah. So, nah, man, like, I just don't think we could ever sit there and be like, yo, that IP is dead. I don't really think it works like that with them. Like, my criticism of Astro, when people was like, oh, it's so nostalgic and all of that. I'm like, y'all don't know what nostalgia is, bro. I get it's like, oh no, it's a thing that I liked in the past, yeah. But I don't think y'all understand, like, in order to use something and make it nostalgic, it kind of got to be still relevant. You get what I'm saying? Like if it's dead and you killed the people who make the thing, like and all that, like yeah, the developer's done. Everything is done. Everything about that IP is gone, dead, done. It's like it's not a celebration, bro. It's like you basically visiting a funeral, and then it's reminding you of everything a company used to do, don't do, won't do, and never gonna do. You get what I'm saying? And then you're like, well, at least I was like, celebration where? Like if that was Mario running around, and you were seeing Hyrule, Donkey Kong Country, Dreamland, Pikmin, Random Planet, going to a Xenoblade world, going to name the IP from Nintendo. You in a mansion from Luigi, like anything, a city from Earthbound, yeah, like all that, like that. That would be like going to actual. That would have been the Zombie Land. But anyway, nah, like like that would be more. Oh, it's a celebration of the IP. I'm like this is not a celebration of the IP. This is actually embarrassing to me because it literally highlights everything wrong with that company to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's consistently we make stuff, we kill everything around it, and then we act like, hey, look at all this cool stuff we do, and we use it in ways that does not involve gaming. You know what I'm saying? Or you using that character in a brand new entry of anything, a spin-off, this, that, and those are two different things. But anyway, I ain't mean to go down that avenue. I'm just giving you an example of actual dead IP, and then saying, like, are they even dead now? Because look, they popped up in Astro. So even though I felt like that, and I feel like that about it, when you talk about it, like, are they dead? Again, if it's kind of being utilized, if one person said, I'm gonna buy Astro because there's a Ape Escape, little thing in there, or there's a Bloodborne little thing in there, then didn't that IP technically do something? So while it may be, dead, is not really dead, it's a zombie. You know what I mean? It's a zombie. The brain is still working, it's functioning. There it is walking. There it is. Walking by, dancing, doing a little dance. In Astrobot. Zombies. So again, I don't know if anything is ever truly dead. That was a long-winded way of me breaking that down, but I wanted to give y'all my whole perspective and just show that it's not about just shitting on, oh, you shitting on Astrobot. No, I just think what I said is the truth. It's a fact. Like, you can't sit there and be like, oh, no, it's great. Like, oh, it's great. Like, if that's what you consider great, me and you are completely two different games. Great to me is driving around Hyrule. I know those other games still exist. But it's like that's the IP being utilized in a full-blown way. They even have puzzles there. Bling, bling, bling. Now you opened up, boost bridge so you could jump over this area, and you created, a new path for everyone who's basically at a close distance to you. Like that's super cool. And then it also becomes a curse because somebody think, oh yeah, I'm about to get the, and then it goes down, and bam, they hit the wall. They threw Zelda elements in there. Then you go to the F-Zero, right? Oh, dead IP, we ain't getting no F-Zero games. Oh my God, so what, F-Zero's only gonna be in Mario Kart? We heard a lot of that sentiment. But I, as a F-Zero fan who played the entry from the handheld games to the console experience, from the beginning to, 99, I was super happy that the series was being used in a way, I could listen to Big Blue and Mute City being made in the jazzy style of Mario Kart. That's fire. Because I've always, like many of us, always wanted more than just Mario characters in Mario Kart. We always, like, it been the time. After Double Dash, if you ain't gonna do Double Dash, then put everybody, like, it just felt like that, like, after Double Dash, for some reason, really, I feel like it became more prominent, the want for Mario Kart to be more Smash-like. So, and by Smash-like, I just mean include all the IPs. What Astro did was like cameos. What Nintendo did with Mario Kart and utilizing IPs like F-Zero was full gameplay. Boost pads all over to give you that speed. We got 200cc that felt like it just came based off them playing around with F-Zero. They probably went and played F-Zero. Was like, damn, this shit is fast as hell. What if we made a fast mode in Mario Kart? All right, then 150. And it led to that. So, again, that's just utilized different, but then you look at something like that and you go, is the IP dead? If it's still doing things like that, it's what you consider. If you're talking like, full-blown games, it's never going to be made another game, I don't think there's anything like that I can commit to 100% and be like, you're never going to get another one. Because even Mario Paint, you see something like the mouse feature and you go, Mario Paint, like, and it's like, now that's back. There's nothing to say they don't do something else in the future. And it's, oh, yeah, here we go, another We Fit balance board like thing. Hell, Ring Fit did so crazy. We don't even know what we're going to get with that, right? So it's like somebody might feel, oh, yeah, Ring Fit was one and done. Like, We Fit got two. Ring Fit ain't going to get another entry. It's done. It's over with. But Ring Fit did almost 20 million sales. The likely scenario of them and that team not doing something else that's based around fitness on Switch 2 is it's ridiculous actually to think that they're definitely making the game. They're definitely making something that's peripheral based, and it's gonna be cool, just like We Fit was, just like Ring Fit was, And yeah, they'll continue pushing with those kind of games, and I like that they do that stuff, So yeah, yeah, I think it's real difficult to call anything really dead and things like that. But yeah, I like what more what Mario Kart did with the IP, or even what Bayonetta 2 did. You know what I'm saying? Then and like the Astro bots, like, oh, look at the little bots and whatever, like, because it's not even like like Bayonetta was like, hey yo, here's an R-wing, enjoy what it could feel like. And then when they made a game, and it was like, but it didn't feel like that. It felt, well, like a zero. Nah. It wasn't a complete zero, but it wasn't good either. It wasn't great. Star Fox Zero, but I got it though. Still never actually opened the other game that came with it. Was it Star Fox Command or whatever? The little Rob robot game. I never opened. That's still wrapped up in the package. Funny enough. Anyway, and I never will. Yeah, I'm dead serious too. Man, I think that's gonna do it, man. I think that's gonna do it. I think, look, nothing is ever truly gone when it comes to games and IPs, It's just things need to align. The stars need to align, the ideas need to align, budgets need to align. Hell, even narratives, need to align. Maybe we'll become real passionate one day, and everybody will just start a campaign like Operation Rainfall and be like, "Yeah, we want this, that, in this game." You're like, please, Nintendo, bring these games back, and the whole campaign, and it's loud, loud, like where they go, you know what? Let's do that. Let's announce that we're working on. Even if it's just one of them, it makes you think, oh, maybe they're gonna do the other two, too. And then that game might come back. You never know what could happen, So again, the games, they're just in the Lost Woods, man. That's the best way to put it. They're in the Lost Woods, and Skull Kid is playing games with them. But one day, an idea will come, and then bam, they find their way out and right into your whatever hardware that you have at the time. Hell, it might be in the future when you don't even got hardware no more. You know what I'm saying? It's just video games. Yeah, and you just download that somewhere. Like, simple, man. But anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks to each and every one of y'all who tune in and listen to all the content that I make, watch the videos that I make and all of that. To each and one of my patrons, I appreciate y'all. If you aren't a patron, you can become a patron simply by, hitting the link on the channel and, yeah, join the Discord, all that good stuff. So until the next one, thanks for tuning in. Peace.